dokie. We are 4 o'clock on the dot, so I think we'll kick off. I will end that poll now. Most of you have voted. Welcome. This is the final in this series of webinars aimed at teachers. Last week I did a bunch for parents and carers, but this week I've done 2 for teachers, and there's one a few weeks ago as well. We will do more in the future, but this is this sort of first phase of online webinars for you guys. So those of you who are new to this, if this is the first one you've watched, just to make sure this is one you're expecting, this is integrating careers into your curriculum and online curriculum, because actually it's relevant for both. The other webinars I'll show at the end in case that they're of interest to you as well. If you have not met me before or not seen me before, just briefly, my name is Miranda Glavin. I am a careers advisor, careers consultant. I run a careers guidance and education company called Elevate Careers, which is based in Brighton. If you want to get hold of me, you can contact me on those email addresses. Just to let you know, this webinar is being recorded. So at the end, I will upload it onto our website and you can access it whenever you wish, or you can share it with other people that you think it might be relevant for. I'll also share the slides, which will become more obvious why. There's quite a lot of links in here. This is a big old subject. You know, I'm doing a bit of a whistle-stop tour as always. With, you know, careers is such a broad area, so there's quite a lot of things that you can go and look at in your own time and reflect on or use in your practice. So yeah, I will be uploading both of those later on. Again, just for those of you who are not familiar with Get Career Confident, it's a project that my company runs with Sussex Learning Network, and we are careers and enterprise funded since last year to deliver this project. And we have sort of 3 main things that we do with it. One of them is careers interviews. So we're working specifically in 13 schools, delivering additional careers interviews to meet their, make sure every young person gets a careers interview before the end of year 11 and year 13. But we've actually just broadened that offer out across Sussex. So if you're coming from a school not in one of our 13 and you think it would benefit your students, then you can signpost students and parents to it online. They're all virtual at the moment. We're also doing CPD, such as this webinar, again, mostly aimed at those schools, but we've broadened it out so anyone and everyone can access these webinars. And last but not least, we've got a lot of careers education resources on our website. Lots of them are video based, but there's other resources there as well. And we have 3 distinct social media channels, one for students, one for parents, one for teachers, on 3 different channels. We put stuff on it every single day, opportunities, recommendations, tips, advice, anything and everything careers, and with a local area kind of nod, or lots of stuff that's happening locally. Well, will be in the future. Okay, so that's the spiel about who I am and what we're about. We're going to kick off now into the topic of today, which is, I guess, basically Gatsby 4. If you are not familiar with Gatsby benchmarks, I will let you discover those in your own time. But really, it's all about how can we integrate careers better into the curriculum that we deliver at our schools. We're going to go through a couple of different things. Some of them you might be already familiar with, others hopefully this will be new or something, you know, to improve the way that you are delivering. It actually might be useful just at this point to do just another quick little poll just to see who we have in the room. So just if you guys can answer this, be interesting to see kind of who my audience is. Some of you might be careers leaders, SLT, okay, careers advisors. Okay, we've got a mix, which is good because I think in terms of what I'm saying, there's something for everyone, but it's got quite a school focus. So the fact that there's SLT teachers and leaders here, that's good, but it's also helpful for careers advisors to know what sort of recommendations are. So thanks for letting me know, guys, and hello. and also for those of you who might have joined late, if there are things that come up as I'm talking that you think you want to know more about, or you have a suggestion or a recommendation, please share your knowledge. put it in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and that will come through to me, and I can either share it with the group, or if you've got something specific you want to direct at me, let me know, and I won't share it broadly. Okay, let's just end that polling. So yes, let's move on to the first. So I think I just put this in here really to make sure we're all on the same page, which I'm sure we are. But really, I've made a spelling error. Oh, it's terrible. Try not to look at that. What impact? I can't bear it. What impact does careers in the curriculum have? And I just wanted to kind of reassure you that there is actually quite strong evidence now that it does have a really big impact on various elements of school life and young people's experiences of school. So the education employers have done recent research, a report called Motivated to Achieve. And what was really good about it was a double-blind study, which is not that common in the world of careers, which means that some students didn't have the intervention and some did. Which I think is really important to see actually what works. And what they found out with sort of the interventions they were doing is that those that had the careers intervention had improved attitude in terms of their motivation and their confidence, increase in self-efficacy, more time spent revising, especially for the less engaged students, which is a massive win, and even was boosting GCSE grades. So I think this is a really, if you're somebody who's struggling to get the school on board, especially with some teachers who maybe think, I've got too much to do already, if you tell them that actually this will help your students to increase their GCSE grades, then I think hopefully you're onto a winner. So basically, I would say careers is fundamental to school success, and there's some evidence to back it up. Just going to double check we've got a little Q&A there. Thank you. Someone saying, don't worry, it's a typo. I know, even I do typos. I used to be a journalist, so it kind of glares at me when I do them. Okay, getting everyone on board. I think this is a really interesting area because one, it's a difficult thing to do in the first place. And then two, it's a difficult thing to maintain because staff changes, schools change regularly, and you have to, it's kind of an ongoing process. There's a nice little bit of research again there, and I'll stop going on about research after this, but subject teachers are highly influential, as if we didn't already know that, but students are 18 times more likely to be motivated to learn if their teachers know their hopes and dreams, which I thought was a really lovely kind of reassurance. So, the teaching staff being on board is crucial, and other staff. And when I say being on board, I mean being aware of what the careers ideas are of what you want to be doing, and also confident to deliver them, because I think that's often an issue, that they think they don't have the expertise, when actually there are really easy things that everyone can do where you need not prior knowledge, which we'll come to in a minute. SLT buy-in, and also having a focus of what the aims are really, and that everyone knows they're on the same page with it, and a governor being responsible for careers. All three of those things are equally important. And actually maybe starting with the governor is a good place, because I think there are still some schools that certainly I'm aware of where there is no governor with careers responsibility. And I think if you don't have that, then the drip fed is already, there's a problem. So really important things to be thinking about. In terms of kicking off, because even if you've got a brilliant careers set up at the moment, what is going on in the world is going to have an impact on it, I would say. So it's worth, if you have time at the moment, maybe doing an audit, and certainly if you've not done one before, now's the time to do it. So speaking to heads of departments and tutors, what are they already doing? Because often there is careers stuff happening in the classroom that maybe you are not aware of as a careers leader or SLT or a teacher or whoever it is that's kind of doing careers stuff in your school careers advisor. A simple thing to do is a questionnaire to all staff to see what careers things that they're doing that are already part of their delivery. Naturally, they might not even recognise it as careers related. So, that's your opportunity to say, well, that, you're already doing something brilliant there, which is kind of, positive feedback and encouragement. And a really simple one, appointing a careers champion. So probably not necessarily the head of department, because they probably already have got too much else going on. If they can choose someone who they think will be enthusiastic about it, then already you've got that person to go to say, oh, will you put that thing up on the board, or will you email out this to students? So those things are kind of crucial first steps, I would say. Okay, just double check I think so. Okay, planning, because I think quite a lot of, from what I'm hearing from staff at the moment, there's quite a lot of planning going on. Some things to consider: how does the careers work in your school fit with your school ethos? Do you have a particular specialism, for example? Are there particular qualities that you want your students to demonstrate, in which case, you know, careers can really push that agenda? What do you want each year group to achieve in relation to careers? I think that's a really crucial one, because, you know, what a year 7 is capable of and needs to know is going to be obviously very different to a year 13. And the best careers program is going to build each year. So it's not just a hodgepodge of different things happening at random times and hope for the best. It actually needs to sort of broaden and deepen their knowledge, so that hopefully by the end of year 11 or year 13, they have the tools that are required and relevant to their age group to go out into the big wide world. So, you know, what is it that you want them to be achieving? I've got my phone for time, so that's a bit annoying. Oh well, I'll check in a second. Let's go back. What are your, this is a really crucial one as well. What are the outcomes you're looking for? And I think this is where often it can sort of fall down a little bit, the careers program. You kind of get a bit lost sometimes in terms of what it is you're actually trying to ensure young people are achieving. So is it about skills? Is it about knowledge? You know, is it, and some examples of that, for example, would be labour market knowledge. So having the awareness of what jobs are available in that area. You know, those are for the students that have a really strong career aspiration. I think what would be a good example of that, I had a lot of students watching CSI in over a few years who all want to do forensics. The reality is there's hardly any jobs in forensics, especially in this area. So, you know, it's that kind of awareness of the reality checking whether or not they can do what they think they can do. And then there's things like employability skills. So that could be sort of a hard skill, like can you write a CV, an effective CV, but also a soft skill or an employability skill, like can you communicate successfully? Can you show initiative? And that can be sometimes a bit harder to teach, but it's definitely possible. And then also things like pathways, you know, do they have the knowledge to actually know what options are available to them? And then it's about thinking where might best you develop these skills, so and this knowledge. So is it in discrete lessons or within classrooms? We'll talk about that in a second. The Career Development Institute has curriculum audits, it has frameworks, it has learning outcomes, all on their website. So you don't need to kind of come up with it all yourself. All the kind of the tablets and the frameworks are all there. So, you know, go have a really good look at that. It's comprehensive, and at first it might seem a bit overwhelming, but actually once you do a check, you can see, okay, this is where I need to put the different things in. The developmental tool is actually probably a good place to start, because that lets you see what's already going on in your school, and then you can kind of add things as and when you need them. I'm just doing a quick check in the chat to make sure all is good. Oh, someone said that she couldn't hear the audio, which is a bit worrying, but I'm guessing, can people just put their hand up to make sure that in general you can hear the audio? Okay, so Susie, I'm sorry, hopefully you can hear me. Looks like everyone else can hear me. This is recorded, so worst case scenario, you can catch up at another time. And actually, while I'm just doing that, I'm just going to do, yeah, okay, we're okay for time. Sometimes it can, time whizzes by, doesn't it? 2 questions at the end of this, which I think are really crucial. 1, have you taken into account possible future delivery variables? And what I mean by that is, are we going to be, we don't know how this is going to move, you know, go forward. At the moment, we've got students coming back into school, but the reality is that might come back out again at some point. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. So I think we need to be thinking about how do we create a program that can be in school but also be online and maybe blended as well. So how can we adapt? And some of the things I'm going to show you in a second will allow you to do exactly that. And also going forward, things are going to change. You know, the labour market's going to take a massive knock. Pathways are going to be very different. There's less apprenticeships at the moment. So are there things you need to be putting into your curriculum that take into account this new world that we're going to be living in? So, you know, do students need to develop their employability skills more? Do they need to get better at entrepreneurism? Do they need to look beyond the sort of local labour market? Those are the kind of things that are really important, or else we're going to have a lot of young people that are not prepared for the future, really. And the future is a tricky one at the moment. It's not easy, this stuff. It's not easy. This just very briefly, in case you don't know the sort of delivery methods, I just wanted to mention the kind of the two main ones are discrete careers lessons. So when I say that, I mean doing a careers lesson in PSHE, in tutor, having drop-down days where it's all about careers as a focus of, we're now doing a careers lesson, which are great and I think are important. But a lot of what I'm talking about is about the second one, is how can we integrate it, which is the main point of this workshop, through other subjects. So be that practicing interviews in English or showing careers videos related to history or whatever. Then there's extracurricular enrichment. So you might have like a STEM club or a debating club, which definitely has careers links to it. And then that last one, off timetable discussions. You know, careers is part of everything in life, really, isn't it? And you know, even for a young person, whether it's because they're struggling in a subject because actually their home life is really difficult, or they don't necessarily recognise the importance of a subject because they haven't been shown how it is relevant in the big wide world. So, you know, those kind of conversations as a teacher or a careers advisor that you might have are still, you know, possibly the most important, but they're the hardest to sort of prepare for, I guess. So it's about, you know, are all the staff in your school ready for those kind of conversations, and how are they responding to young people? Are they being really directional and saying, well, you can't do this or you should do that, which as an advisor I would certainly say is not the right approach. And the pros and cons of different delivery methods are in that link there, so do have a look. But I would say, you know, a combination of all four would be a, you know, brilliant way forward. Okay, easy wins. Like I said, these can all be done in school, or, well, I think bar maybe one of them, but certainly they can all be done in a virtual learning environment as well. So first one, I think a really simple thing you can do, which I think a few schools are already doing, is in each curriculum area. So if you have Google, you know, Google Classroom or something like that, you have a subject area, stick in a job alert slide, for example. So you could pick a couple of jobs with a bit of basic information that are related to your subject, just for students to kind of be noticing that, and change that up every now and then. If you've got no time to create that, and if you think it's useful, I could put some together for you. I could do that. But the other thing is the subject careers posters. My colleague Mark, who's a careers advisor, put together these fantastic posters which are related to all the subject areas, certainly for GCSE, with little quotes from people working in all sorts of different areas about why that subject is relevant to their career. So, you know, put that in there in the first page, or in an obvious spot in your online classroom, and straight away you're making, you know, young people kind of connect it. Spot the skill. So our students to identify the career skills they use in their lesson. We created a little poster that has the kind of key employability skills that young people should be developing. Really simple. Again, if you have an online lesson or an in-person lesson, at the end you can say, at the beginning you can say what skills have we used or are we going to use, and help them start to kind of connect the dots a little bit. Because, you know, 9 times out of 10 when I ask a young person what do you think your skills are, they don't know. And even an older person struggles sometimes, and this is a great way to start that kind of building of that knowledge in your head that, oh, actually I am pretty good at communicating, I do that a lot, or I am actually really good at teamwork. Here's some examples of when I've done that. Careers talks. So again, I would say this is now even easier. Yay! You can do Zoom talks with different, you know, anyone and everyone, but it's a really easy thing to do because most people, well, one, you can access people from all over the world now. You know, it's not just limited to whoever can get to your school physically, but also, you know, it's a real opportunity to get lots of interesting people who maybe wouldn't have the time to do it normally if they had to come into a school, blah, blah. But, you know, I think if you don't do anything else, this is a brilliant way. And actually, I think this is what that evidence, that research I mentioned earlier, this is what they specifically, the activity they were doing. They were getting employers to come in and talk to the students. How do you get these employers? A couple of suggestions here. You can ask your enterprise advisor, which isn't on there, which I should have added. Ask teachers to suggest people in their networks. You know, every teacher's got a friend, at least one, who might be willing. Inspiring the Future is an online platform with loads of people in the local area and beyond who are willing to speak to young people. And the last one is something that's happening locally. Some of you might know Rachel Carter, who used to be head of skills at the council, at Brighton and Hove Council. She's now working on a digital badge project. And as part of that, they're doing Career Explorer Zooms. So basically what I'm talking about, and I think a few schools, Patcham and Varndine, did it last week. I watched a few. They had a music one and they had a business one, and I think digital media, all were brilliant. You know, local people talking about what their careers were like, you know, what kind of pathways, what opportunities there are in the local area. And I think other schools are doing it in the near future. So if you're interested in that, get in contact with Rachel. I asked her earlier, she was happy for you guys to contact her. I'll whiz through the rest because I'm just conscious of time. Oh God, go back. Hopefully you're not going too over it. News of the day, so share news opportunities relevant to your subject. If you're not following, for example, sector skills councils or any companies relevant to your subject on your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's on social media these days, you should be, and you can bung those things onto your classrooms. You know, if there's something that's happened that you think young people will be excited by, let them know. Sector of the term, so you can give maybe students a sector route to research using careers websites, which I'm going to show you in a second. Job of the week, showcase a short video detailing a different job each week. So these are the videos we have put together. They are, I'm going to show them in a moment, but they are a couple of minutes long and they have labour market information embedded in, but they're interviews with people who do, you know, mostly jobs that young people wouldn't necessarily have thought of or heard of or wouldn't know much about. So they're a really good way of just broadening aspirations, but again, you can relate them to your particular subject. You can share your career path, and there's a nice little poster that you can download there and print and write onto, or you can write online. This is an opportunity to get bespoke, you know, tell that young person who is really into something obscure. If you come across something, you can email them about it. You know, this is a real great opportunity to help individual students rather than just seeing them as a whole class of staring at you. And this is a great chance to think, well, actually, Joseph, you know, he's into the, you know, archaeology, and I just saw that thing that's happening, or that, you know, that webinar that's on, or that piece of news. So I think there's so many opportunities really to do things differently. And last but not least, asking students to research a career which is related to your subject that they might be interested in, and you can make a short film on it, you know, a little selfie film talking about what they found out, which you can then share. So, you know, take the load off you. You don't have to do all the work. Okay, I've whizzed through that. I'm just going to see if I can get time. Double checking. Nope, didn't use my phone. Okay. Where am I? Right, this is the links of careers websites. So I've done my best to pick the subjects which are GCSE. There's a few probably that I'm missing, but for the most part, I've got the sort of the basic curriculum subjects in there, plus a few extras, which I know sometimes are taken at GCSE. I couldn't do all of the A-level options because I would have been here all day. But these are a good start. You know, most subjects will be covered in some way. And there's more at Elevate Careers website as well. But all of these are great, you know, broken down into, you know, the STEM ones are all fantastic. The Discover Creative is a brilliant one for any I don't like really saying creative careers because every career can be creative in some way, but when I say creative, I mean music and art and sort of media. Humanities are there: English, IT, business, sports, trades, childcare, and languages. So, you know, you can use these in different ways. You can either embed them into your learning platforms, or use them for students to do research. Briefly, this is our C2B videos, just so you guys are aware of what it looks like. So you can drop down and filter it by topic area. So we've got, I think, about 25 videos up there at the moment. We'll have lots more soon. Obviously, we had a bit of a stall because people aren't in their workplaces, but we're doing them from home when we need to, and they're actually working quite well. It's quite fun seeing people talking about what they do, but in their living rooms. But, you know, just picking out, we've got head of wardrobe, assistant stage manager, a degree apprentice in engineering, counsellor, psychotherapist, news MD, content creator. And like I said, we link those to pathways locally in Sussex, but businesses that might employ you, work experience that would be useful, all that kind of stuff. So if they think, oh, I do like the look of that, they would know then how to go on and do it. So use these as you would like. There are some suggestions here as to how you can use them. I'm not going to go through all of these, but again, these are all really short, you know, 5-minute activities which you can do with your students during an online lesson, or you can put up on your platforms for them to do by themselves, or you can do in class as and when we go back to normal, whenever that might be. I'm just going to stop sharing very briefly because I can't. Oh, there we go. We are fine with time, so I'm just going to share again. There we go. Okay. So I've gone through quite a lot of tips and suggestions. What I wanted to do now is just draw your attention to places that you can access resources for either embedding or helping you broaden your knowledge and upskilling so you know the information as well. So first thing is social media. Careers Leaders UK is a fantastic Facebook resource. If you're not on Facebook, I think it's worth going on Facebook just to get access to this group. What's brilliant about it, it's a shared resource. So pretty much every day you get lots of different people asking for help and lots of responses, and also people sharing stuff they've done. So pretty much anything careers wise, you know, work experience policy, careers curriculum suggestions. People also put files up so you can use and then adapt as best you would like. So brilliant resource there. Get on it ASAP. Brighton Youth Opportunities and Youth Professionals Network Brighton and Hove are two, again, Facebook groups, but they're worth following just because they put up a lot of really relevant things for the young people in Brighton and Hove area specifically. But I think there's ones I'm sure you can find in East and West Sussex. In fact, I should have put those on already, but I'll have a look and see if I can add. But yeah, just for you to be aware, so you can, you know, direct young people towards things that are relevant for their interests. Like I said before, Get Career Confidence on Twitter. We put up news and opportunities daily. So if you're on Twitter, follow us. Careers in the curriculum, what works is, I would probably say, essential reading. It's research that Careers and Enterprise Company put together over, I think, was that more recent one? I can't remember if it was in the last year or two, but it's fairly recent, and yeah, a really good starting point for just thinking about what you're doing already and what you should be doing. And there's some more information on the Gatsby Benchmark 4 on that link. Free online offers. First, but not the most important, but pretty important because it's next week. The World of Work, which is something put together by the Careers and Enterprise Company and an online portal, which I've forgotten the name of, Oak Academy, I think they're called. They have got a whole week of work experience things happening from next Monday to Friday. Lots of them are live, but they are going to be recorded, so you can tune into it at a later date. And there's lots of material that will be just open, you can use whenever. So if it's too late and you didn't know about it to embed or use with your students next week, you can use it at a later date. But have a look at it because it's some great stuff on there. Gatsby subject guides, this is Success at Schools, have put together each GCSE subject and lots of careers information around it. Usually you have to pay for it, it's free at the moment. Get involved with that. Lesson plans, there's lots of different resources, which I couldn't put all of them because we would have been here all day, but it's a CEC, Careers and Enterprise Company list of other initiatives, and some of them are lesson plans, which is great. The STEM Careers Toolkit, worth looking at if you're a STEM teacher. Some free PSHE, more lessons on this website, which I've got the name of it, Creative Resources, I think it's called. Barclays in particular do some fantastic employability skills lesson plans. They're usually quite long, but there are sort of shorter videos and things like that, so it depends, kind of, you might have to pick and choose things out of there, but it's comprehensive. Career Pilot, I think, is a great for young people. It really helps with pathways and helping them to connect what they're doing and what their possible futures might look like. So it's quite a useful, just general all-rounder website to direct students to, as well as I Could, which has teaching resources, videos, a bit like what we do, but nationally, and it's got a little buzzed quiz for students as well, a little questionnaire to see what kind of careers they're interested in. I've mentioned these paid ones here because I know a lot of schools have had success with UniFrog and with START and with Grow Far. They help with the sort of management of, particularly if you've got large cohorts, of supporting those students into their next destination. So especially with things like university, but also kind of collecting their development, their skills and their qualifications and things like that. So it's not a careers education plan, but it's going to potentially help your program, up the level a little bit of your program, but it's not essential. You can do all of this without paying really for much else other than your time, but that's obviously very important. So okay, I whizzed through that. What we've got coming up, well, staff webinars. These are the 3 that I've now nearly completed when I get to the end of this one today, but they will all be on, the first one's online already in the same place on our website, if that's where you came through it, but otherwise just go to our website. It's under teachers, under webinars. We have 3 webinars coming up from Janet College, who's a fantastic proponent of careers and how important it is, and she comes under the title Career Defender, which I love. So she's doing one on the 25th of June, persuading others that careers education matters, which I think is pretty crucial. Career department planning, another typo, also really important. And last but not least, supporting teachers to have careers conversations, which is vital. So all 3 of them, I think, are incredibly important. They are aimed at those 13 schools we're working with, the careers leader plus one other staff member, but I think depending on how that goes, we might be able to open it up, so watch this space. And I also did those webinars last week, which are all online for parents, so you can send those out. Please feel free. And last but not least, this won't be forever. Although I would like to carry on doing these webinars because generally we've had some really great feedback. So life will go on, even if it is in a slightly different way. I'm just going to have a look to see what Q&As have come through and see what I can answer. If you've got any questions at this point, get them in ASAP. Okay, so someone's asked if we'll get a copy of the webinar. Yes, so they will be on our website. We don't like to email you directly because even though we have access to them, we're GDPR, but if you really would like it, I can see who this is. I can email it to you, but it will be on our website, so you can all access it freely. Okay, Rachel Carter. I think when you click on the link, it should go to her contact details. I will double check that, but they're on there. I don't want to just put her email on the straight onto the presentation, if that's all right. There's a bit of a long question, so give me a moment to read it. Right, so this is kind of a SEN question. Quite a few of the resources that I've linked to include SEN query, SEN material in them. So when you're having a look through, see if there are things that are coming up. I'm pretty sure most of them. If you're still struggling, then please let me know and I will send you some things specific. And actually, maybe that's a webinar to do specifically around SEN material, because I know that's a trickier thing. Just to let you know, all of our videos are subtitled for students who are hard of hearing, and you know, we break down the information as best as we possibly can. But yeah, I know it's definitely an area to look at. I've just got some thank yous. What I will do is hang around for a few minutes in case anyone wants to chat on the chat option. At the end, well, we're nearly at the end. When you log off, it will come up with a little survey. It's really helpful. It's very short for us to know what is, you know, what more things you might want, or what has been helpful or maybe not so helpful. Because obviously I'm doing these for sort of quite broadly, so sometimes it's good. Yeah, it's just good to get feedback about what's most relevant to you and what you'd like to see more of. Actually, I think there was one last poll which might be interesting to do. Yes, before we all go, I wonder what you guys think about this. Do you think we'll need to adapt how we do careers education? Which is a pretty broad question. I'll be interested, yes. Very quickly. Yeah. I mean, I would say so as well. I think there's definitely things we can take, but I also feel that what we do in careers has got so much potential to be so inspiring and so exciting. You know, it's people's futures and their lives. And if you could all think back to when you were 15, certainly when I think back to when I was 15 and what I wanted to do, I was really lucky that I had people in my life, even though I didn't end up being a marine biologist, I had people in my life who took that to heart and kind of supported that aspiration until I changed direction. But you know, a lot of students don't necessarily have that, so it's really up to us to do our best to help them understand how the subjects that, you know, being sort of ploughed through to get your GCSEs is important, but actually at the same time to feel that it's taking you somewhere that you're excited by is just, you know, it's so important in our mental health, if nothing else. So yeah, one person's not sure. I'd be interested to know why. But it's fair enough. I mean, who knows? There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment, that's for sure. Brill. Thanks, guys. Okay, I'm just going to double check there is nothing else let's just check the chat. Yeah, I've mentioned a few. Oh, okay, there's another person asking about having missed the webinar, which is fine. Yes. Yeah, the resources on the website are completely open source. Everything is open to everybody. So the videos, handouts, links, yeah, webinars generally. Like I said, the ones with Janet, we've got 3 coming up towards the end of June. At the moment, they are restricted to our 13 schools, but if depending on take up, we might be able to broaden that out. So fingers crossed. Okay, guys. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully that's been useful for everybody in some way. Really pleased to do this, and I've really enjoyed these webinars, and hopefully I'll be back. Any questions later on, drop me an email, and I will hopefully see you again. I'm going to hang around a bit till you all disappear, because I think otherwise the survey doesn't come up. So I'll just be here. If you want to chat with me, feel free, or else have a good rest of the day. Enjoy the no more sun, unfortunately, but maybe that's a good thing. It's getting a bit too hot for England. Take care, everybody. Bye.